The full moon is often associated with emotional upheavals, unusual behaviors, or even so erratic changes within our environment. Though these particular elements can be heavily pronounced during a new moon phase, this lunation is so much more than that. Beyond the modern day tropes, the full moon is truly a spectacle to behold in the night sky. Our ancestors understood that the full moon marked a point of illumination and completion. They knew that this phase brought hidden developments into full view. It was a time to reap the harvest of their labor, both literally and figuratively. It was a cycle for releasing the fruits of their work into the world while letting go of anything that no longer served a useful purpose. For ages, our ancestors understood that when we live in harmony with these recurring phases, we make wiser decisions and we align ourselves with cosmic order. In this video, I'll explain why you should pay attention to the full moon cycle. While my framework explores this concept through the lens of African cosmology, this timeless wisdom applies to people groups worldwide. So we'll explore this topic based on how you can use this phase as a practical tool for illumination, appreciation, release, and also evaluation from a purpose-driven perspective. Now let's begin. So why should we pay attention to the full moon in the first place? Well, unlike the new moon phase, when the sky appears dark and a new cycle begins, the full moon actually represents when the lunar cycle showcases its full splendor. Astronomically, the full moon occurs when the Earth sits between the sun and the moon, allowing the moon's face to become fully illuminated. That illumination provides a very powerful metaphor. So think about a seed when it's planted. When it's first placed beneath the soil, very little, if anything, can be seen. But as time passes with proper nourishment and favorable conditions, of course, it becomes increasingly visible above the ground. The full moon reflects a similar process. It reveals and exposes development that occurs beneath the surface, bringing it into full view or exposure. Like the changing seasons or the tides of the ocean, the moon reminds us that life flows in cycles. So how do you work with this energy for maximum benefit? Now that we understand why the full moon is important, let's talk about how to work with it in a practical way. Remember, this isn't just about releasing negative energy or letting go of what no longer serves you. The full moon is also a time of illumination, appreciation, release, and evaluation. It marks the point in the lunar cycle when certain developments become more visible. This may include the results of your efforts or emerging opportunities, maybe even so unresolved challenges or hidden realities. So the full moon actually invites you to pay attention to what comes into focus during that time so that you can determine how to respond to it in a productive manner and decide what you should release in the world and what you should actually remove from your life. There are several things that you can do during this time to properly engage this energy. One of them is to focus on illumination. So the first step is to truly identify what is being illuminated during this phase. Just like the full moon lights up the night sky, this particular lunation may bring certain areas of your life into sharper focus. You might begin to see the results of decisions that you made in the past 6 months or so. You might begin to recognize things that you previously overlooked, or receive certain information that helps you to gain a better understanding of your situation. During this particular phase, it's great to ask yourself a few questions like, what area of my life requires my attention right now? What particular truths have become more visible? Or what opportunities are beginning to emerge? Or even so, what challenges am I experiencing that are showing me that something needs to change during this time? Illumination can be both affirming and uncomfortable simultaneously. Sometimes it reveals that your hard work is finally paying off. Other times it can expose problems, delays, or behaviors that can no longer be ignored. Either way, whatever comes into view gives you vital information to work with. The goal isn't simply to notice what's happening, though. It's to determine how you can respond in beneficial and productive ways to this energy. Another thing that you can do is to truly appreciate the things that are coming into fruition into your life. So once you've identified what is being illuminated, try to take some time to appreciate the things that are developing during that cycle of your life. So the full moon has long since been associated with harvest because it ultimately represents a point when our previous efforts begin producing visible results. This can include the completion of a project, reaching an important milestone, receiving recognition for something. So this particular phase is an opportune time to express sincere gratitude. Remember, appreciation doesn't mean pretending that everything is okay or perfect. You can acknowledge whatever blessings you receive while still recognizing that adjustments are necessary in your situation. You can appreciate a lesson even when it came through a challenging experience for you. The purpose is to truly show gratitude whenever developments that you've experienced before come forward. Our ancestors understood the importance of honoring the harvest. They knew that every completed phase contained so much knowledge and resources and wisdom that could support the next phase of their journey. So another thing that you can do is to actually allow yourself to release. So this particular step actually includes two forms of release. The first is actually releasing the things that you've been developing or working on into the physical world. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of the full moon energy. Many people just associate full moon release with only negative things, unhealthy relationships, bad habits, unwanted energetic interferences, things like that. While letting go is such an important part of this phase, release can also mean revealing anything that you've been developing into the world because it's reached a stage of maturity. It might not be fully developed, but it may be at a specific stage of development where it is time to show it to the world. So maybe think about the process of pregnancy, right? During the hidden stages of development, a child grows inside of a woman's womb. But eventually that gestation period reaches its point of release and the child is born into the world. The full lunar cycle embodies this same symbology. So with the new moon, it reflects the stages of conception and preparation. The waxing phases represent development, but the full moon itself represents the point of culmination and emergency. In daily life, this could look like maybe publishing a work or a creative project you've been working on, launching a business, a product, or a service, maybe even so sharing different ideas that have been developing within you over time, or having very important conversations because things need to come out into the light. At the same time, the full moon also reminds us to let go of anything that no longer serves a beneficial purpose in our lives. So this is the part that most people talk about. This particular form of release can include unhealthy habits for sure, limiting beliefs, unrealistic expectations, relationships that no longer serve our purpose, or commitments that basically pull us away from our divine purpose. Letting go of these things definitely allows us to make room for much bigger and better things to come into our lives. Lastly, you want to evaluate the results of the cycle. So it's time to take a look at what just happened. During this time, you want to ask yourself questions like, what worked well for me during this particular phase? What did not produce the results that I expected? What lessons have I learned that have served me during the lunation? And what adjustments do I need to make moving forward? Evaluation helps us to transform our experiences into wisdom. Without it, we're much more likely to repeat the same things over and over again without understanding why the results remain unchanged. The full moon gives us an opportunity to fully see the light before another cycle begins. Once you flow through the stages of illumination, appreciation, release, and evaluation, you will be better prepared to begin the next new moon cycle with so much greater intention and also a greater commitment to your purpose. You see, each full moon serves as another opportunity to recognize developments in various areas of your life so that you can respond to them appropriately and to continue walking in your divine purpose with your destiny and your ancestral legacy. As always, guys, Ashe. Please have a very blessed and beautiful day and beyond.